actually working with juvenile probation on a program called direct referral, meaning if it gets to juvenile probation and it's not the kind of thing where you're going to put the kid on probation and go through the trial necessarily, they'll just directly refer it to a community-based organization, probably alcohol counseling service. And it's the same kind of thing. There's a contract there, you've got to go through it. That is required to have that be the end of the process. It is all about fixing the problem, not just applying a consequence. In the juvenile offender world, they actually don't commit crimes. They just do things that are wrong and need to be corrected, and it's a helpful system, except when it gets to extreme circumstance. And so we're in that same mindset with teens. And our work with the schools is mindful of that we have to know the kids, we have to know who they are, who their friends are, to know how behavior changes and when things start to spark up so we can act quickly and intervene quickly. I'll jump for just a second to I think the greatest threat we face, and that is technology. The kids are using, as you know, they're using social media in a way that we cannot even imagine. At Drug Free last week, I was telling a story about my own experience, and I asked my captain to share a story, and he had gotten back from a national academy he was at, and he said, you know, this technology stuff, I got to make sure that our daughter is, I gave this iPad, and I don't know what she's doing with it, and so he asked her, sweetheart, I need to know what your password is for your iPad. And she stomped off, screamed at him, wrote him a 2-page letter calling him a stalker, and just can't believe why a dad would want to know her secrets. Well, that's its own red flag. There's probably nothing there. But our kids deserve that we pay attention to staying with that conversation, finding an appropriate way to understand what they're doing so that they feel secure in their own identity, but we know when they're either a victim of something that is going to prey on them, or they're potentially a victim of something that's going to cause them such serious concern that they would think of taking their own life. And I think it is such an important area for us to focus on, that if we can raise awareness about the incidence of it and be proactive to stop it, to get to kids who are beginning to act in a way that is dangerous, meaning they're getting ready to share things, they think there's no problem with it, they take pictures of themselves and send them off. We have got to change that culture. And so I just really invite the opportunity to have a more complete conversation about that. I don't know the solution to that, but it's an area of deep concern because it's a tragedy that we won't know about until it is a tragedy, I think, because the kids obviously aren't really comfortable to share. We are deeply, deeply committed to the safety of kids in this community and deal with your kids on a regular basis. We may have touched your kids somehow, some way. I hope that we do it in a way that is respectful, that is professional, that is, I think, helpful beyond what you would expect. I would really love that we are known as a department that goes above and beyond and treats kids in a way that is different than other police departments. It's my clear intent to do that. If we are doing it differently or missing an opportunity, maybe there's just a way we could do it that we aren't thinking about, I welcome that. And Leighton can be a great person to receive that, or you're welcome to tell me. And I just think we've benefited so much from trying to be creative about how we work with our community and the accessibility that you have to the police department. We are sort of even in a small community, we're kind of official like all police. It's sometimes hard to go up and say hello to a police officer. I'm telling my officers that when someone comes up and says to them, so how are things going, or how do you like your new building, or what's happening in the police department, it's less that question. It's more, I really do like our police. I'd like to talk to you. Can we have a conversation? Can I get to know you? I think that's really what people are saying. And if that is the case, fine, okay, we love it. Is the wrong answer. The right answer is, why don't you bring your family down to the police station? We'd love to show you. And we talk to you about what we did. Or we just had a really interesting case. God, did you hear about the homicide and how we solved that? Did you know we're trying to meet everybody in the community? It's a pleasure. I'd like to meet you. I know to such a deep resolve that if we are that kind of a police department for all of you, you'll tell us things we need to know. You'll help us when things are challenging, particularly if we do something wrong. And then if we have to deal with a hard problem, I think you'll both be a partner and you'll give us a lot of grace as we work through challenging issues. We're getting ready to start a couple of things. One is a tip line. And so we're really kind of strapped with staffing now. It's hard to get the initiatives going that I would like to, but we have contracted with a company that allows anyone with a cell phone or email access to send us a tip. It is anonymous. In fact, it is truly anonymous because this company bought the scrubbing software from a company in Canada. And you can't do a search warrant in California or the United States against a company in Canada, so you can't even get the records. It is that anonymous. What happens is the text message goes to Canada, gets scrubbed and coded, and it comes to us. And so a student could say, so-and-so has something dangerous in their locker. And we would get this text, and we'd have something we could act on. We could talk back to them and say, can you give us some more information? It's all still anonymous. At some point, they may reveal who they are. We could ask for a meeting. They can stay anonymous. And then the other intent is to become modernized with social media, which we are not yet. And we know we're behind the curve. It's something we absolutely want to work on. We have a Facebook page for the Youth Commission. I invite you to have your kids friend that. They are dying to have other kids friend them. This Youth Commission is just so impressive with the work they do. I'd like to support that. But we need to be able to get the word out about the great work we do. So much of what we do is not known well because we really haven't developed a mechanism to get the word out. But you deserve to be incredibly proud of your police department. They do wonderful work on a daily basis. Just such a high level of care for people and their circumstances. They follow back with folks. They stay in touch with families. They provide resources. They know the history and legacy of families. And I'll tell you one example. Just promoted Kevin Elliott to sergeant. Kevin was a motorcycle officer. He was a detective. Kevin handled Jill Neighbor's family, Jill Neighbor's suicide, and dealt with the family. And I tell this story, I'll just abbreviate a little bit, but there's always a tension in an investigation when I ask, do some more, find out more, find out for the family. When an investigator might think, you know, I just need to solve the case, I just need to figure out what happened. That movement from solve the case to get to know the family is enormous. And so Kevin now is a huge proponent in Jill's ride. He's very involved with the family, has a just incredible appreciation for the challenges of being a teen in a community such as this. And I'm so grateful that we have people in our department who are of that makeup. It is what I hire for. That's what I'm looking for. One of my first questions to anyone who is applying for the department, applying for a specialized assignment, so resource officer, detective bureau, SWAT team, what is the department's vision? Meaning, why would you want to know what's going on in the community and how are you helping us get there? And the people who know how to speak to that are the ones that we're hiring. So I think we'll continue to see benefit from that. It is just really a pleasure to be with you here. I'm happy to take any questions you might have and would love to come back and talk to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can I ask quickly, do you have anything in place or you plan to, because there's a lot of kids that go to school here that live up beyond your jurisdiction. And I know my daughter was a pretty tough crowd. And she, I'm not here this semester, last semester and last year, are just beyond your limits. And county sheriff, I don't think they have your philosophy, and in fact, I spoke with your dad once, saying, what are you doing? And his answer was, well, at least I know if my kid's going to party, at least I know that they're partying here. So they don't do it, they'll do it somewhere else. And you know, so there's a few of those, as you know. So what do you do? Because the kids are from here, from the high school, and they're up there. Because they know less gas, TV's not going to come, and maybe county sheriff will, or...
So the question for anybody who might watch this later is, what do you do when the party is up in the hills, that's not our jurisdiction, maybe the philosophy we talk about doesn't get applied that way, or the parent doesn't express the same level of concern that we would hope parents here would. And there are parents here who have that same concern, unfortunately, as well. I think it goes to what your level of influence over your child is, whether you allow that to happen. And essentially you're allowing them to go to an unpredictable, potentially unsafe setting. We learned from a risk manager in our profession. He's sort of a comedian. When he talks, it's very enjoyable. He's got a big train whistle. And when we get to a moment like this, he blows the train whistle and says, predictable is preventable. And so you have just outlined all these danger signs that we know you're up away, it's hard to get to, long response time, see them coming, run to the roads, that kind of thing. Parents out of not applying control. The first question is, do you allow your child or youth to go there? You may not know they're going I think
Yeah,
that's
Right.
what I.
she lived with her dad for 3 years.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
all
So, that's why I love safe rides. I would rather the kids didn't drink and didn't go to these parties, but they're gonna do it, and you gotta get them home safely. I think safe rides is a great responsible response. And then having a really good conversation about your team so that they understand the choices they're making. But the other thing we did, maybe you can help me, is we have, in prior years, had the SRO from Saratoga come to our drug-free community committee meeting. And that was a great opportunity to have that issue be raised and have someone from that agency hear that and have to deal with it. And so perhaps you can help me get through. Yes, Saratoga, I think the Saratoga SRO is a great place to start, and maybe there's another person from. That part of the hill is not the section of the Sheriff's Department, or the command of the Sheriff's Department, that Saratoga, Cupertino, and Los Altos Hills is that we typically draw from. And so we almost have to go to two people in the same department and have them both come to hear the complete picture.
You say call us for this or that. What is the number specifically?
Sure. This is for your cell phone or from home. 354-8600. 354-8600. And put your cell phone, if you hadn't heard this, because when you dial 911 from your cell phone, we are by a freeway. And the phone companies have tried as much as they can to tell the cell towers, when you hear 911 in a community like Los Gatos, send it to Los Gatos. Well, CHP needs to get their calls too, and so we're right next to a freeway. And a call from this area is going to hit a tower by the freeway, it's going to go to CHP. So I have in my phone for San Jose Campbell and Los Gatos, I have the non-emergency and emergency numbers. But that goes to the same place where a 911 emergency call comes in.
So, when is it? That's the tip line? Is
No,
that
that's
what you're
not the
saying?
tip line. The tip line is a short distance away. But if you called that number and gave us a tip, we'll take it. And we are, I mean, we're about this big. This is about the size of our department, and it's these 2, 3, 4 people out working at any one time with a sergeant, and maybe it's 2 with a sergeant because we're a little short right now. There's one dispatcher sitting there, and so whether it's a 911 call or a business call or it's ultimately going to be a tip call, it's coming to one person, and so we'll handle it the same way.
So that was my question: is when is it appropriate to call the tip line, and when is it appropriate to call?
If something's happening now, or you think there's some urgency, deal with it. Do it that way. Some people may not want to call because they know the line is recorded and they have a concern about it, and the tip line will be their avenue. I have no idea how well the tip line is going to get used. I hope people become comfortable with it. We tried it at San Jose when I was there under the Crime Stoppers program, and there's a stigma of snitching that goes along with calling and giving information that we have to overcome. And frankly, we could use your help thinking through how to roll this out. So we just, I got to wait a couple of weeks to get a little bit of space before we launch this thing. Can I take 1 or 2 more?
So
And
it's
then
just
I
one number, and then you call and you say whether it's 911 or it's just a tip, or is there another number for the tip line?
So again, we don't have the tip line set yet. What we will do is, well, it's just like when you go to the arena and you have a problem in your seats, they ask you text help to this number and put it up on the stage. It'll be that same kind of thing. We'll create a code. It'll be LG, PD, and whatever. Then you just type in what your message is, and it'll automatically come to us. So it'll be different than a phone number. But if you have, some of you may know, I know you know because you've already done it. You call Leighton, you call us, and we get information about a party, a person, a drug, whatever. We send it to Leighton, or we send it to the detective bureau. It just goes to 1 or 2 places. They get it to the patrol guys, and it is so wonderful to look at how this department organically processes information. We're not highly automated. There's a clipboard in the briefing room, and 3 or 4 police officers sitting at a table with a sergeant, and they say, well, we're going to be together for the next 12 hours. Let's go over what happened yesterday, last night. This kid got arrested. Oh, yeah, I dealt with him last week. And to hear that kind of community intimate knowledge, it should be incredibly, make you feel incredibly comfortable. When a name comes up, these officers, they know their car, they know where the car was yesterday, they know where it's going to be tomorrow night, they know who's in the car. It's a wonderful part of being in a small community. It's a horrible part of being in a small community.
I have a quick question. You talked about the boundaries on alcohol being very clear, having 3 teenagers. I hear constantly that the boundaries are not as clear when it comes to anything else, marijuana or otherwise. And they have been at parties, they have been pulled over in cars where marijuana is just kind of, oh, go away, but we will handle alcohol. Just curious, like Karen did mention at the drug-free meeting last week that there was some discussion around more punitive or,
With that, what happens on a car stop when teens are in the car and there's alcohol present is, I would expect that at a minimum the alcohol is poured out, that it's documented and determined whether or not this is a safe or unsafe condition, that parents are notified and parents come down, or the kids are cited, there's some accountability. When marijuana is involved, it's really tough for the officers because of medicinal marijuana. There is a very clear trajectory to legalize marijuana in California. Just get ready. 2016, there'll be a ballot initiative. I heard yesterday on the news, it'll probably pass. This past year, I was president of the State Police Chief Association. We thought it was going to be this next year. We defeated it 2 years ago. It is coming back. It may pass. And shame on California if it does, because people are, again, minimizing, rationalizing the effect. And the danger is your kid sees medicinal marijuana and sees kids who are 18, who are their friends, with a marijuana card who can buy up to a pound of marijuana at a time, and they don't use it for medicinal purposes. They give it to their friends, they sell it to their friends. This is an incredibly corrupt system that's sending the wrong message to our kids. It is desensitizing our kids to the dangers of marijuana. I'm really frightened by it. And so, as police chiefs, we are fighting it, and we're going to fight it hard. There are a lot of other substances that are being used by kids now that we don't even know about. We learned about a new tool or a new device for the bong just this week that we hadn't been aware of. So your kids are incredibly resourceful. Watch YouTube and you'll see more than you ever want to know. And so we're having to react. We really rely on people tipping us off or you helping us find dangerous conditions. Is it okay if I stop so I can go to another meeting? But I would be very happy to come back. Leighton is a credible resource to you. Pry on him as much as you need. Leighton being on campus brings a value that you may not be able to fully appreciate. It is comforting to the kids. They do know him. I know they know him because they asked me as I walked onto campus, "Where's Officer Howard?" They actually said, "Did the song go that way? And you're coming this way." And then they said, "And you're younger than he is," which I love. It's actually not true. And I think they really like it. And I think they want kids who are misbehaving caught. I know because the youth commission kids tell me, kids I talk to tell me, what they want is a safe campus. That's what you want. Frank, that's what Marcus wants, so they don't have to be distracted by all this other stuff. You're not the parents who give Marcus or his staff a hard time and rationalize his behavior when they get called into the office. He and we get such crap from people who aren't taking responsibility. The other red flag is truancy, and the high school is doing a great job. Leighton is supporting that. When the kid is still asleep when they should be in class, that's a problem. And you can actually unravel that and figure out why that's happening today. And I love that Leighton goes, knocks on the door, and gets them out of bed. Again, small town service. We're proud to do it. Ultimately, it has a big benefit. The only problem is next year, there's another group coming. Always changing.
Well, this small town is grateful to you. Thank you for your...
Thank you very much.